Welcome back to the football show. We are back. We took a little break after the World Cup, or no, the World Cup. What am I talking about? After the Euro Cup? No, what am I talking about? Yes, the Copa America.
I mean, both.
Both.
They finished on the same day.
Yes, but we're past preseason. Now we had a couple of summer activities. We're heavy into business mode, and now we're back. So, Fonzie, how you doing? Are you happy Arsenal won today?
Of course, it's a good sign. We beat
Leverkusen,
who won undefeated. So people are calling this the derby of the Invincibles.
The derby of the Invincibles. That's funny. I mean, funny that's a friendly match. It could have been, a European final or something. The Super Cup. But that didn't happen. Why are you looking at me that way?
I don't know. You're like, could have been Super Cup. I mean, Arsenal made it to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. I don't think it could have been.
I know that's why it was not a thing.
And they lost the final of the Europa League. So Leverkusen.
What are your thoughts on preseason so far? Not just in Arsenal, but have you been following other teams?
Not really. Very little. Mostly Arsenal, best team in the world.
Yeah,
I think they're doing good. They're very solid. They look very good. Obviously, they're trying a lot of players.
Do you have a lot of younger players
from the academy? Yeah, they're playing a few.
Yeah,
there's some that I think they're gonna make their break this season, hopefully. But at the same time, if they don't, it's just because breaking into the first team has become way more difficult and way more challenging. Like, I became an Arsenal fan throughout the Arsene Wenger era.
Yeah,
where it was more normal. I guess like people saw more of those people from the players from the academy coming up in the ranks. But at the same time, I didn't know at the moment. But at the same time, that was because of the effect that building the Emirates Stadium had in the finances of the team. Right, they couldn't really afford big signings.
Yeah,
so he was pretty much kind of like strapped for cash. And actually part of his contract was tied to the stadium too, Arsene Wenger's, and, lots of many things that made him, play players from the academy. Obviously, It turned out that Arsenal had one of the best academies, some really, really good players coming through the ranks.
Yeah.
And for me personally, that was part of the philosophy that made me love Arsenal. The fact that, they bring players up through the ranks. And I still believe they have that, they have a really good academy. They just had a player that he broke the record of goals scored in I think under 18, under 20, something like that. They offered him a new contract, but the kid decided to leave. He went to Manchester United. They don't say the reasons why, but I believe the reason is because I think the kid is like 16 years old, but the reason is because there's probably a better path to the first team at Man United right now, that they're kind of like on a rebuilding process.
Yeah.
Rather than an Arsenal that has become very, very competitive. Last 2 seasons, second place, very, very close to winning the title, quarterfinals, Champions League.
Yeah.
Sure, you need a lot of players to rotate, the competitions, but you want to challenge for every single trophy. It's going to be more challenging to put a 16-year-old in the team.
It's almost like Joe Palmer, right? Going from Man City to Chelsea.
To Chelsea,
right?
Yeah.
Which was a controversial move. And I think, honestly, he probably now looking at it with the Euro Cup that he had, the goal that he scored, I think it was a good move because it gave him more playing time, younger players. Also, Mark Yu from Barcelona too. He's a forward that came on, halfway through the season to fill in the spots because, where Barcelona players were, falling with injuries, and he scored a couple of goals. And then now this summer transfer, he went to Chelsea, right? And I think, another young kid playing with Enzo and Joe Palmer, I think they're rebuilding. I mean, we've been seeing the Chelsea preseason. It wasn't that good here in the States against Madrid.
I think they haven't won a single preseason game, and they got scored in 4 games. I think they got scored like 12, 13 goals. So,
but I think, at that point, you're still on a big team. You're still on a team that could compete with, with the best, and being a young player and being a starter, I think you're going to get a lot of minutes that otherwise, like you said, in a competitive team like Arsenal, for example, that is competing with every single one and top tier players.
Yeah.
It will be really challenging to.
I think a good example is Emil Smith-Rowe, right? ESR for Arsenal. Great talent, came up through the ranks. I think it was a 2020, 2021 season. When Arteta came in, he did exceptionally well with Saka. But at the same time, yes, he had a lot of injuries. But when they would give him opportunities, I don't think he really, took him and never really cemented his spot on the team. And even though fans love him, I think he's a great player. I personally believe that when he's on the field, the team is not at his best. They're good, of course, and he's a really good player, but they're not at their best.
Yeah.
And they just sold him, right? They just sold him to Fulham for a record at Arsenal, like over 30 millions. And you see the fans and they're like, oh my gosh, we're going to regret this. I'm like, dude, like he's played like 2 games in the last 2 seasons, right? Like barely. He's barely played. 30 millions for a player that barely played. Like, it's a lot of money, honestly. But a lot of people are just running on nostalgia and also the fact that it's like, he's, an academy player, one of ours. I was like, sure it is, but
I think
he also needs minutes and he's going to get more minutes. He's going to play more at Fulham. It's better for him. And, for the self-interest of the player, and I saw this actually on a podcast, one of the guys, like, I don't remember his name, but he deals with a lot of academy players. He said it's better for somebody to just go even to play second division from, let's say they're in the academy of Chelsea or, Arsenal, whatever, big team. It's better for them to go second, third division in the first team than stay in the academy. Like, it's extremely difficult to make the breakthrough from the academy. But he said, after you have first team experience, it's going to be easier for you to then make the jump to another team and play in the Premier League.
I mean, I think a classical example of this is like the Madrid Academy, right? Like, how many players from the Madrid Academy you see going out to the first team, maybe 1, 2 in the last like 5 years is like really challenging, right? What happens is like they end up going to another first division teams, but it's obviously depends in the philosophy of the team. You have a team like Barcelona, right? Like their pride is their youth academy, right? And, just now they just brought Dani Olmo back to the team, right? That's an exciting one. It's a record signing also as well. I think it was like 55 million.
Yeah. I mean, Cesc Fabregas. But the story, like Cesc Fabregas was kind of like that.
Well, Cesc Fabregas, and you have Piqué. Like, Piqué went to Manchester United when he was 16, right? Yeah. Cesc Fabregas, same thing, to Manchester United when he was... To Arsenal, sorry.
Get it right, dude.
When he was 16 too, and then they came back. But even right now, like, Barcelona preseason was... the main players are coming from the Euro Cup. Some of them are injured. You have Pedri recovering. You have Ansu Fati recovering. Right? You have Gavi recovering. And most of the team that they did in preseason is almost Barca B. And the majority of them are going to stay. You have players like Casado, right? Like in the midfield that's doing really, really good. They're concerned about a player that can play around, the same style of soccer or football that Busquets was playing. But it comes down to the philosophy of the team, right? At the end of the day. And what you're saying of, okay, these players, if they don't get the opportunity in the first team, it's better, like you said, to go the other ones. A good example for Barcelona was Ansu Fati, right? Like number 10, there was a lot of pressure there because he inherited number 10 from Messi. But then what happens is he wasn't getting minutes. So then he went to Brighton and played there for a season in England.
He didn't play much either.
I'm doing quotations for the ones listening. But now he's back in preseason, but he's still, the level is there, and apparently Hansi Flick is counting on him for this season, right? Which is, it could be exciting.
Yeah.
Got injured again, but
I know a lot of these players are getting injured. I wonder what's going on.
Yeah, what are the diets? What are you using? But shifting a bit, Julian Alvarez going to Atletico Madrid. What do you think about that? Was it expected?
I think it was unexpected. Didn't see that coming. Some people said he was not very happy. Obviously, every player wants to play all the minutes. There's going to be rarely any player that's just going to be happy to sit in the bench. Even second goalkeepers, they want to play. They want minutes. I thought Julian Alvarez was getting, plenty of minutes in City.
You think so?
But at the same time, I think, it's a team that challenges for every single tournament, right? They got lots of rotations going on. So maybe he wasn't playing that much in the Prem, but he was playing, in other competitions. Not 100% sure because I don't really follow La
Liga.
I don't really follow them. I don't really follow Man City too much. But again, we can also look up at that stat, right? Like how much did he actually play or not? But again, a little bit unexpected. And my fear with players going to Atletico Madrid is that I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of like how Simeone plays. Obviously, he has given them some sort of result, and Atletico Madrid is challenging. It's like always challenging, but
I don't know if you've seen, Atletico Madrid at all or follow his history, but, before Simeone came, they were like middle of the table, under team. And then Simeone came and completely transformed Atletico Madrid, and now they're contenders for like every single competition, right? Like if you're just new to football or you've been following La Liga, for not a long time, Atletico Madrid is synonym of a big team, but they weren't a big team not so long ago. But crazy, the signing 95 million, right? Like Manchester City signed him for 17 million. So like just transaction wise, I think that's huge. Wow,
it's huge. And I mean, honestly, I'm surprised that they paid that much money too.
But here's the thing. I think that transfer is really, really good because I feel is bringing back balance a bit to La Liga versus Premier League or something else. Because now in La Liga, now you have Mbappe, right? Going to Madrid, which they already had like a pretty competitive team, obviously for obvious reasons. Now you have Julian Alvarez, a big profile signing for Atletico Madrid. They also have a very strong team. And then, Barcelona, clearly I'm a fan. I would like to think that we can compete in every single one. But I think that's going to bring a lot of marketing back to La Liga in a sense of attention, right? Like they just released also a Netflix documentary, which is really exciting. But really, really cool, those signings. Dani Olmo coming from the Bundesliga, and I'm sure there's a lot of other transfers that we haven't even seen that are happening behind the scenes. But I think is a really good fit for Atletico Madrid. I think he's gonna get his playing minutes. Like if Simeone is bringing him,
he runs some pressures a lot, so I think he kind of fits in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here's a stat for that I didn't have in mind. Right? You said did he actually get minutes? Well, just in the Prem, 36 matches, started 31. So he played in 36 and he started in 31, right? Meaning he didn't play in 2 of the matches because the season is 38 games long.
So during the season, that these are league.
This is just the Prem. Out of 36 games that he played in, he started in 31. So I think he is getting minutes. He played 36 out of 38 games. And then out of the 36, he started 31.
Yeah.
Right. So
interesting.
Not only that, but then if you go to the FA Cup, he played 6 matches in the FA Cup. He started in 3. And then if you go to the Champions League, well, in the Champions he played 7 matches, but he started only in 2. Right. So I'm curious on to what it is, what actually is, because he is getting playing time. Is it maybe, a new challenge? It could be, right? He already played. He won it all. He won it all with Man City.
He completed football. He won every single thing that
he's won everything. But, I don't see. Pep has been known also for saying if a player is not happy here and they want to leave, like, we'll let him go.
Yeah.
Right. So, there was it could be that he just didn't want to keep living over there, right? He was tired of England. Like there's some players that just don't adapt, right? I remember for Arsenal, Lucas Torreira from Uruguay.
Oh yeah.
Great player. I love watching him play, but I don't think he really adapted to the lifestyle. And then, he kind of like not stop performing. They just stopped playing him, and then eventually he left. And I think he wanted to leave.
A lot of the things that we've said, you have these players also that they might be a complete like transaction where they go in, the value goes up and then they resell them right away. I don't think that's the case with Torreira, but a lot of there's so many elements, right? It's like environment, family, like the style of play. Maybe they come in and the coach want them to play on a certain role, and they might not like that certain role that they might want to play something different. So a lot of elements, but I think it's going to bring a lot of excitement for La Liga. I know they've been investing a lot of money, La Liga, especially on, being present here in the US and compete with the Premier League. So we're going to be covering all this as we go into the football show. And then one of the last things on the signings, this caught me by surprise, man. Marco Reus. Marco?
I mean, we say Reus, but
Marco Reus.
I think it's Reus. Michael Reus.
Marco Reus.
That pronunciation. German people, help us out. How do you pronounce it?
How you do it? LA Galaxy, man. Coming MLS, retirement league. Going back to retirement league.
Do you see his picture? He looks old. He's looking old.
I know, man. Hey, there's a YouTube video of his last day in Dortmund. It's pretty emotional, man. It's pretty pretty awesome. But anyways, I just thought that was a cool thing. You know, another big name coming here to the retirement league. We'll see how it goes. Not much to talk about there. And then to close today, man, have you been watching the Olympics at all?
Zero. Yeah, honestly, I haven't seen a single match.
Okay, well, let me recap what's happening. You know who's playing the?
I mean, I know who the final is
for the gold medal. Who's playing on the female side?
Is it USA and somebody else?
USA Brazil. So
USA Brazil.
So
I feel like
to be expected.
It's like the women's classic.
I think it's Martha. You know, the Martha's last game for Brazil. I think she announced retirement, and she was suspended for 2 games, so she didn't play the semifinals.
Oh wow!
And she's coming back, so we'll see how it goes. I'm kind of rooting for Brazil this time. I don't know why I've developed a little bit of, against US football lately.
I mean, I know my stance on why I don't really support the US national team.
Yeah. But then, we'll see. I think it's going to be an entertaining game. I haven't seen any of the female games, but then the men's, man, I caught the Spanish team versus Morocco. What a game.
Yeah.
Heated. Spicy, fast. Moroccan fans are crazy, man. If you're listening to us, I admire you. But I feel like there was a lot of controversy in the Olympic Games just because of the fans and, like lack of security in the stadiums. You see Morocco versus Argentina first game. He got suspended for like 60 minutes. They came back after 2 hours and played again. And then, France versus Argentina, they ended up almost in a fight. I don't think those are like the main spirits. And again, we're kind of grazing over it because we haven't seen much. But
I think the Argentina France is like the new age rivalry with everything that's going on with the World Cup, the comments, the whole Enzo Chan thing, and I think it's just natural that there is so much much heat.
Do you know Titi Henry is coaching France under 23s? Do you know that?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I watched some games that they had, some like recaps before.
Have you seen his sleeves?
He's built, bro. He's getting
out.
jacked,
bro. You see his tattoos, man. I had no idea he had like full sleeve tattoos.
He's
man.
like Ozil. Have you seen Mesut Ozil now?
Yes,
he's
like full bodybuilder.
Yeah, he's
like,
huge.
Like 3 times the size that he was when he was playing. But I think that final Spain-France is gonna be so good, and I'm obviously rooting for Spain to win. Hopefully they win it all this year. Fermin Lopez, my boy from Barcelona, is killing it. Scored some goal, broke a corner flag.
It kind of sounded like you said my boyfriend from Barcelona.
My boy.
Like, anything you got to say?
Man, Sugar Papa.
Hey.
I'm sure Katie won't be mad at that, but no. Anyways, no. Jokes aside, I think it's gonna be like a really good game, and hopefully Spain will take it. Any last thoughts, Fonzie, before we head out for this catch-up episode and back to rotation?
Now that I need to watch the final for the Olympics and Sunday 9 a.m. Arsenal Olympic Lyon last preseason game for the Arsenal. Come on, boys. And then Saturday 17 starts the Premier League, Arsenal against Wolves. I'm pumped.
That'll be good. Also,
this is our season. I can sense it.
Yeah. You've sensed it the last 5 years too.
I mean, the last 2 years were so good. Improvement. You know how difficult it is to finish second and still improve on your next season. Like, even though you finished second as well, like you had a better season than the season that you finished second. Like that talks massively, obviously, about Man City, which is probably one of the best teams in history ever.
Yeah, you're right.
They're so freaking good, but it's so hard to improve even on a second place. And they finished second place, but they had an even better season that they had last time. So every year since Arteta took Arsenal, he's improved. So, if we keep up the trend, we're improving this season. And the only way we don't win the league is if Man City improves as well. And they stepped it up because they're absolutely insane. But
how many more years of contract Arteta has?
I don't think they're talking about signing a new contract. I'm sure he'll have like 2 or 3 or something like that.
He'll be the new Arsene Wenger.
I hope so. Dude, personally, I love everything he's done for the club. So I hope he stays in there for forever. Don't go Arteta.
Well, if you're tuning in on YouTube or listening to these episodes, let us know who are you rooting for? What's your team? Are you La Liga? Are you Premier? Like, are you Manchester United, City, Arsenal? Are you Barcelona, Real Madrid fan? Hopefully we can keep it, a little bit, here and there. But obviously I'm wearing a Barcelona jersey. I'm a big fan. Fonzie is clearly
we're biased Barca, Arsenal, but we're gonna try to stay as objective as possible when talking about
to
it.
be objective. But yeah, let us know in the comments below which is your team, and let's start building this community. Let us know. Do you guys want a newsletter? What do you want? Let us know in the comments, and we'll go from there. Thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
See ya.